guys, in this video I wanted to talk about 10 things I feel convicted about as a Christian. And so I got saved about 7 years ago. So this is kind of going to be set up as like BC era, before Christ era of my life, when I got saved, and now where I'm at, you know, all these years later. But starting off with the first one is needing to set and accomplish goals. I used to feel like I had to set all these goals and accomplish them all, but once I got into a relationship with the Lord, it then became the prayer of my heart to say, God, not my will, but your will be done. Any dream, any ambition, any desire that I have above you, God, I just lay it down at your feet. Anything that I'm chasing, would you set my heart and my mind in alignment with you and your will, God? I want your will for my life above any dream or any ambition I could ever chase on my own. And that's something I started to feel convicted about, having all these things that I was chasing after, rather than just asking God, God, what is your will for my life? Not all of my plans, but your will. The second thing is curse words. I used to curse a lot in my speech, but when I accepted Jesus into my life, I didn't feel like it was something I had to necessarily surrender and it was a struggle or wrestle. It just naturally went, but definitely curse words was something that I just naturally said, and maybe it has to do too with the people I surrounded myself with, but regardless, curse words went as well. The third thing is gossip. I used to gossip all the time with my friends, and that was really normal. That was just part of conversation. That's all we really knew to talk about. And now I just don't like gossip. I feel so icky when I'm in those conversations, even if it's kind of something that happens by accident. You don't really know how you got in that conversation, or you thought it was going to be one thing, but it led into something else. And I just don't even like to entertain those types of conversations. And if I feel God asked me to speak up about it, to be like, guys, this is gossip, let's not go there, I will. But if not, then I'll just remove myself from those conversations, because my heart really goes out to the person being spoken about. And it's just not things that I like to, entertain in my life anymore. I also felt that as you got older, gossip would kind of go away. Like, oh, that's just something you do in middle school or in high school. But let me just say, there are people well into their adulthood that still gossip, and I just don't want that to be part of my future either. The fourth thing is modesty, and this is definitely a gray area, and everyone has a different place for what that looks like in their life. But I used to just get dressed and wear whatever I wanted, only dressing for me. Even with bathing suits I would wear, with the outfits I'd wear. Gym modesty, which is a different one, and I will say it's definitely been more of a marathon and not a sprint when it comes to modesty, but we're all at different places and just figuring that out with God. But I remember when I first got saved, I went through my closet and literal scraps, honestly, that I was like, God, anything that I have that is not glorifying to you, would you just help my heart to surrender it and just not even want it, because I want to wear what brings you glory, God, and doesn't bring all this attention and validation to myself. And anyways, ended up having like a full trash bag donated of clothes that I was like, I just cannot wear this anymore. I just can't. And it wasn't even like, honestly, it wasn't even like, I can't. It was, it got to a place where I just didn't even want to, and I felt that I wanted to dress in a way that brought honor to God. The fifth thing is honoring my parents, and I used to feel that I'd only honor or respect my parents if I felt that they were worthy of being honored or respected. But actually, it's one of the commandments that comes with a promise, and it says, honor your mother and father so that it may go well with you and that you may have long life. And we're just called to honor our parents, whether we agree with them or not. And honoring my parents is something that God really had to refine and change in me. The sixth one is selfish gain and seeking validation. I used to really want people to just praise me and people please and just do things that would get other people's, approval. But once you're in a relationship with Jesus, it really is that mentality of living with the mindset of only pleasing one, and heaven is cheering you on. God, what do you want me to do with my life? My life is yours. I'm not living to people please anymore for other people's approval or validation. I'm after heaven's cheering for me, and God sees me living for the audience of one. Also, when it comes to seeking validation, I used to only want my friends to tell me what I wanted to hear. If there were things going on or problems or situations, I just wanted them to be yes men in my life and flatter me, telling me what I wanted and not even necessarily what I needed. But But now I've come to recognize that a good friend is actually the friends in your life that tell you the hard things and tell you not always what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Call you up in love, and say, I just see so much more for you than how you're acting or what you're saying or how you treated that person, whatever the situation may be. So having friends just not only validate me all the time, but call me up. Not necessarily out, but yeah, call me up. The 7th thing is showing my body online. I used to post bikini pictures all the time, and isn't it funny? I'll say that when you post bikini pictures, those do way better than when you post wholesome family pictures or just you, normal. But when you're posting your bikini pictures, likes, comments, follows, just everything going, send, shares, and I loved that. Like, I felt so validated getting, that 1 second of validation on social media. But once I got saved, and that one was a little bit harder because you feel so loved and so liked and so wanted. And anyways, I just remember I got saved and I started to feel convicted about that. So I deleted all those pictures. And then as I was a Christian, this was, a couple years into being saved, I then posted a bikini picture, and it honestly wasn't like that bad, but I've come to find if I try to justify my decisions with it's not that bad, that's how I know it's not of God, because that's the enemy trying to just, come like sneak in like little, like it's not that bad, but my standard for my life isn't that bad, it's God's best. And so I don't want to toe the line with, well, it's not really that bad and I could be doing worse. Like, okay, but I could also be doing better. And yeah, I posted a bikini picture, and a youth leader, someone close to my life, sent me a text, and she was just like, hey girl. And you already know, it's like, not the hey girl. And she's like, hey girl, you're beautiful and all the things, but I don't think you should be posting your body like that online for, all these people to see. You just have so much worth and so much value, and that's something you should probably just keep to yourself and one day for the eyes of your husband. And I don't know, she just spoke a lot of life into me, and I felt so convicted. And honestly, even before she said anything, I felt convicted posting that. I just left it anyways, but after I deleted it, I just felt this weight of like, Tristan, that's the old you. Put off the old self. Walk in the new you of like who you are in Christ. You're a new creation. That's your old ways, your old flesh. Like, crucify your flesh. Walk with Christ in holiness and righteousness. We're not going back to that, what God delivered you from and set you free from. So posting my body online is something I personally feel convicted about. The 8th thing is having a bunch of guy best friends. I used to think like, oh, I'm one of the guys. Like, they're just my brothers. They're just my friends. Like, I'm one of the boys. No, I'm not. We're done. We're done with that. I do not need a bunch of guy friends. That also is feeding into, validation and approval, and also casually keeping them kind of in like my back pocket of like, oh yeah, we're just friends. But also kind of maybe not really. And if I'm not married by the time I'm 30, there is always that one guy friend or that one guy friend that they really like me and like talking to me and think I'm pretty, but we're just friends. No more of that. I want to be married one day, and I just don't need a bunch of guy friends in my life. Also, I have triplet brothers, and that's 3 brothers. I don't need more brothers. Just, we're done. Next one. The 9th one is music, and I do believe that what you listen to really does affect you, whether you recognize it or not. I used to listen to a lot of secular music, a lot of pop songs and, worldly songs that talk about fame, money, sex, drugs, all the things. And I just think it starts to plant these images and things in your mind, the pride of life, the lust of the flesh. And those are just not things that I want in my spirit. They actually cause me to grieve in my spirit. And I'm not saying that you can only listen to worship music, no other music, but I do think that just being aware and asking God if the music you're listening to is glorifying to Him and it's not impacting you in any type of way. I just think those are some questions you should sit with yourself and talk to God about. And I'll listen to country every now and again. I think it could be wholesome. Some of them not so much, but I try and listen to the more wholesome songs. But yeah, mainly it'll be Christian music, worship music, praise, but also country. I do like country. And some pop songs I don't think are bad, but you just have to see where that line is for you. But yeah, I think what we listen to really does affect us. And then the last thing is TV shows and movies. There's a lot of sex scenes in movies these days, and just things that are in these shows and these movies that I don't agree with morally. And I think that that's definitely something glorified in our TV shows and movies now. They're rooted in drama and in gossip, sexual immorality. And that's another one. I recommitted my virginity, my purity back to the Lord. And so sex outside of marriage is something that I'm convicted about now as a Christian. Whereas before, I just didn't think anything of that. I thought those things were normal to have sex in your relationship because that's what the world is doing. But now in my relationship with Jesus, I'm definitely waiting till marriage for that. But then you see these things in movies and in TV shows, and it's almost like glamorized and glorified. So just, I feel convicted about TV shows and movies that we watch today. But those are some things that I now feel convicted as a Christian. If you agree with these, or this, resonated with you, or you disagree on some things, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, or other things that you feel convicted about as a Christian. But yeah, I love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things, and I will see you again next week. Bye.